welcome back. We are finally live again, and today we're talking about a super duper awesome. In fact, it's the ultimate travel SaaS app UI design, and it has so many cool elements that I'm super duper happy to bring to you. So many awesome features that you wouldn't ever expect of a general layout of a UI design, and so many cool new things that I'm excited to talk about. Let's just jump right into it. Let's get to our demo. This is what we're going to be designing today. It's a complete UI design of a destination dream travel SaaS, and it has a lot of really cool features that I want to talk about right off the bat. It has this wonderful background overlay of all of these images, and it scrolls for a little while so it stays sticky on top. And then you have this awesome text. The font combinations for this one are insane. We also have this awesome section like this. Just check this out. This is so modern, so pretty, so unbelievable. This is awesome. We also have the join us section, which is almost customary in almost all UIs nowadays, but we've managed to bring a lively spin on it, and it's super duper fun to have as an element on your UI. And this next part is my ultimate favorite. This is the bento grid of the testimonials, and it's super duper awesome, fun to make, uses a lot of color, uses a lot of pop, does bring your users attention to what the clients say, and it manages to feel so lively. It's tremendously unbelievable. And then you have your obvious subscription models and everything else, but just check this section out, you guys. This is the ultimate greatest section ever. And then you have a standard business footer with so many different things bringing it together. The first thing that I feel like really brings together this UI design, and there are a couple of things I want to talk about before we even get started, is the font combination. The font that we're using here is Coolen, and this paired with any thin font for that matter. I feel like this is Veera Sans, but Coolen in itself paired with any thin font is absolute gold. And the fact that it just gets together so easily with this color scheme that we're using today is also amazing. Our color scheme today is all primary colors, but there is a little bit of pop, and it does manage to bring a level of life into the UI design that wouldn't generally be possible like that. So I feel like this is going to be one of the most unmatched UIs we've done in a really long time. You can add this to your portfolio. You can find all the images that we've used in the Discord group linked in the live chat. Do make sure to join us there. And today we're going to get started on this UI design. I am so happy to be able to just build this out along with you live. Let's get started. So the very first thing we're going to do is, if you do not yet have Figma installed, what are you doing? Go ahead to figma.com/downloads and install Figma. Once you're done with that, you're going to go back to Figma, click on plus, and then create a new design file at the top, and this will create a new design file for you. It'll look something like this. Now let's start creating our UI design. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a frame, which is obviously going to hold this UI design. Let's go over to this place, create a frame, and this is going to be a laptop frame, because at the end we have to see the prototype through the onion skin of a laptop. And this is an excellent way to present UIs to clients, to other designers, to anyone who wants to see your designs. And just at some point it becomes really difficult to understand what this is, how this will appear in an actual UI design, and it's just so much easier to show someone this and have them have a visual of what's truly going on here. Let's just jump right into it. So the very first thing we're going to do right off the bat is start by creating a frame. And now that we have a frame, we are going to create our navigation bar. Having this out of the way is key to getting every other element working perfectly. Let's just start with that. So we're just going to create a simple frame which is going to stay at the top, have the full width of my box, and let's give it a little bit of height. 70 pixels should be completely fine. The next thing we're adding is the logo and the name of our brand. Let's get a logo from my favorite location to get icons and logos and everything else Iconify. This is a plugin in Figma. You can just get it from here, type it out, and it's going to open up for you. And we're going to search for travel. I feel like travel could give you, we could have a lot of icons for travel, but I think we should have like coconut trees. Again, we're not sitting here to design a complete logo, but should we do tree? I feel like I need to find the perfect tree for this one. This actually is quite close to what I was thinking of. This looks good. Let's just import this inside, and we're going to obviously make sure the width and height are linked together. Bring the width to be a little bit smaller. Just oops, don't make it so small that it disappears, and then even if you try to bring it back, it just doesn't work. Let's reduce the width, and now we're going to change this to green. Again, we're just getting a color that works here, nothing too important. And then we're going to add the name of the brand, Exquisite Escapes. Exquisite Escapes. Don't worry if your text case isn't correct. You can just go to this button and get yourself sentence case titles. The font that we're using is Veera Sans, and the font size is going to be 22 pixels, because let's face it, this needs to be much bigger than what we have. All right, let's just stay with the font width regular, because any thicker and it would not be the best thing ever. All right, the next thing we're going for is home about us, our experts. These are the links that are going to be at the top, and they are going to show us what the navigation process is going to look like. So we're going to copy this and duplicate it. Change this to home, and then we're going to get a couple of others. Let's change the thickness back to regular, and we're going to add about us and our experts. Today we're making this UI design, and I'm super duper excited about, even before we started, this awesome bento grid. So let's just go back, change this to about, and now we're going to change it to our experts. Let's do our experts, and we're going to give it auto width as well. Every element that we're using essentially needs to have auto width. We're going to group it all together and add an auto layout. This is going to make sure everything is perfectly spaced apart. And now let's just put it in the center. Again, if it troubles you the font size, you obviously have to reduce the size, and let's bring this down to 16 should look good. And now we're just going to make sure it is perfectly spaced in the center. The next thing we're going to do is obviously make our call to action button. Let's copy and paste this button and paste this text and bring it outside. Again, we're going to make sure this always stays in the center of the navigation bar. And now we're going to talk about the simplest way to create a call to action button. So we're just going to go over to our text, right click and frame it, and then add an auto layout, add a padding to the left and right, add a padding to the top and bottom, add a stroke, add a border radius, and that's it. This is your button. This is your main call to action button, and we're just going to place it perfectly in the center. All right, the next thing we're going to talk about is changing the text. Let's change this text to say plan your journey. These buttons without a fill and only a stroke and a border radius are really starting to pick up, especially in the current state of modern design. And we're going to make sure they're perfectly spaced apart. Let's add an effect of a drop shadow, just so there is a little bit of space at the bottom. Oops. Drop shadows don't work unless you have a fill enabled, so we have to make sure we have a fill and then give it a value. Add some blur to this just so that there's a little bit of spacing going on. You can adjust the spread, and that's going to make the length of how much is at the bottom of our rectangle. And now we're going to work on our main section. So we need to have this image from the background of for the background to work. So we're just going to expand this section as a whole, and now I'm going to import this image. This next image that I'm about to import is from our Discord group, which you can join from the link in the description and also the live chat. And we're going to get this image by clicking on the square and going down to the drop down and searching for image. This is the image that we've gotten now. This is downloaded from our Discord group, so you can just go ahead and quickly join the Discord group and get access to this image. I'm going to right click and send it to the back, and now this is going to be our second section. This section is going to hold a couple of things. We'll give it the same size as our image. Make sure every single corner is of the exact same width and height. Make sure this is outside of our frame, and this new frame now only holds our image. And now we're just going to switch this off and start adding some text. Discover your dream destination. Let's just type it out really quickly. And now we're going to switch over to the font. The font that we're using today is Koulin. Let's change this to Koulen. We're going to increase the size to 128, and then I feel like we still need to increase the size a little bit. Let's go with 156. Hopefully that should give us a good number to go with. All right, now we're going to select this and make it smaller. The line height with this font is actually a true nightmare, so you have to do your best to adjust it to as small as you can. Don't put percentages in here because that is a nightmare with Koulin. Percentage values are just so hard to scale down, and I find it so much simpler to just put down pixels, especially if you're working with this font. This is a tricky one to get right, especially in the first go. And so we're just going to bring this down to the desired width that we have, perfectly center align this frame, and we're going to make sure this is inside of our third frame, by the way. We'll perfectly align it in the center, and then we also want for us a description and 2 call to action buttons. So let's get that sorted. Let's copy and paste this text and then style it so that it looks similar enough to the description. I'm just going to get this out of the way for a little while. The font that we're using for the description is going to be Veera Sans, and also the font size is going to be really small, just 24 pixels. And let's, you know what, we could even go smaller, but let's just copy the text and paste it with the same style. Let's do 22 pixels. Hello Rohit, welcome to the stream. Today we're designing this unbelievably awesome travel SaaS app, and it's super duper fun. It has a color scheme, it has an excellent font combo. This is the greatest part of the UI ever. Welcome to the stream. I hope you learned something. All right, now we need to make sure we have the right height for our description, and we're going to make sure this stays. Let's give it 38 pixels, and let's just put this in the center along with our description. Just make sure everything is layered. If you guys have any questions related to UI UX design, I would be more than happy to answer them. All right, let's now work on our call to action buttons. In fact, we could make this a little bit smaller, not a lot, just a little bit smaller, just so things start working fine. One key principle with Koulin is make the line height the exact same number, not percentage, the exact same number in pixels as your font size, and that is a strategy that has worked for the longest time, so you can't possibly go wrong with that. You can reduce the font size now that we are over here. Let's change the font size to 18 and also change the line height. We're going to reduce the length. All right, let's just get this frame aligned in the center. Why is this going out of frame? All right, let's just put this in here and we'll take questions in a second. If you guys have any questions during this time, just post them in the live chat and we'll just, after we're done with this section, we'll get to the questions. Also, if you're new to this channel, subscribe. We have a goal of completing 500 subscribers today. I know it's ambitious, but I do have that goal. We actually do 4 streams every single week end day. So every single weekend we do a total of 8 different UI designs, 4 on Saturday, 4 on Sunday. Hectic, but it's completely awesome. We've done 2 streams in the morning and now we're doing 3rd stream on this channel. Just make sure to subscribe, guys. Just why would you even wait for that? And everyone who subscribes today gets a special surprise. We have something cooking for absolutely every subscriber on this channel. Let's just quickly subscribe and let's go. We're so close to 500, just this close. All right. Now before I get into any colors, I want to get my color scheme from over here, because color scheme is something that you use all the time and it's almost nice always to have the color scheme handy with yourself. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the live chat and I'll answer them as soon as we're done with this section. Let's change the text color here and change this to blue. Also, if you're not subscribed, make sure to click on the bell icon when you subscribe so that you get a notification every single time I go live. Alright, and now I'm going to quickly paste my color palette in here. And we're going to give this a color of yellow. Let's just change the text and then that would be it. Explore packages, learn more. Let's just quickly change the text. Alright, now we're going to get both of these buttons and group them together. And this is going to be our button group. Now we're going to make sure they have a good amount of spacing between them. And the next thing we're going to do is just make sure these elements work together. And let's just group all of these together now. Let's group this together as a whole and let's just put it at the center of our screen. The next thing we're going to take care of is this section, Unmatched Luxury. Let's create a simple frame and then we can go from there. We're going to increase the frame, add a box over here, and let's just type out Unmatched Luxury, Travel Beyond Expectations. I feel like at this point, once we do have our description and title sorted, we can get both of these. We can just copy and paste them and change the text, and that's automatically going to fix us a new title and description, and that should be simple enough. Where did the frame go? I swear to God, these frames just keep on escaping and it's the weirdest thing ever. Alright, let's get the title and description from over here. Copy and paste it and bring it inside of our frame. I'm going to make sure everything is set to black. You know what? Let's, instead of doing black for this complete UI, let's do 101010. And that's the perfect shade of black, especially for our circumstance, because this font is a very, very thick font, so you get large chunks of bold text which are completely black, and that gets irritating for some reason in a really quick second. So it gets, pure black is often glary and weird, so it's almost always wiser to have a lighter shade of black. Alright, now we're going to change the text here to say Unmatched Luxury, and I think we should change the font size in here to just be a little bit smaller, because according to typographical hierarchy, you have to make sure these other headings are always smaller than your main heading, because this is the one your user needs to focus on when they enter the website. Also, if you haven't yet subscribed, subscribe. We aim at completing 500 subscribers today. All right. Let's reduce the line height in here and make sure it's almost always, here's the thing with Coolen, you guys. If you're using this font, you always need to have an exact same number of line height as the font size, and that just works every single time. Travel beyond expectations. Let's give this an auto width, and that's going to make sure everything is in a single line, and then we're going to type out travel beyond expectations. Let's change the height to, let's change the font size to 24 pixels, and then we can change this to be gray. This has to be gray because, again, this is the same reason we're not using pure black for bold texts. It gets irritating very, very quickly. You will not believe how quickly it just gets weird and all black. You don't want to destroy the pretty color palette that you're building, especially after this much effort. Let's just put this at the top, zoom it in, add a rectangle, and obviously now this needs to have a border radius as well. And we're going to just place this over here. We're going to group them together because they need to now work together, and we're going to create a single card for each of these boxes. So all of them are going to hold an image and then their title and description. So let's just get the title and description done. You know what, let's just get this and let's type out the title. It's travel itineraries. I'm just going to copy the title from over here. You can pause the video and type this out yourself. And oops, nope. We're going to paste this according to the last text style that we just did, and then we're going to style it together. We're going to change the font size to Veera Sans, and then reduce the font size to, let's do 22 pixels. 22 pixels should be a good title size. Let's not worry about the line height for now because that's just a never-ending struggle. In fact, if it's Veera Sans, you can change it to auto and that should be good enough. Alright, now we're going to get ourselves a description and reduce the font size. Obviously, when you're designing a description, you need to reduce the font size, change the color to gray. That's just the no-brainers of UI. And now I'm going to copy all of this text. Hopefully, it fits perfectly into what we're designing and paste here to match style. We can reduce the font size if we want. Let's do 14 and also scale this guy down, place it perfectly in the center. And I feel like this is the perfect card. What's going on here? Oops, we need to get these out of our previous group. Anyways, we're going to press on shift and select all of these, group them together. And the thing with these cards is now this is your model card on what each item of this list is going to be. So we're going to go to Lumi, which is my favorite stock image platform ever since I started using it, because Unsplash and Pexels will always pump out the same images that are free of charge and you can use them for commercial purposes. True, but it just gets boring after a while, especially if they've been used for a really long time. So let's just add an image related to travel inside of here, and then we're going to do 2 others. This looks fine. Let's get our group, copy and paste it once again. It doesn't matter what image you have here. You can take your own time, obviously, to change things up. Let's copy and paste 3 different boxes, and we can then add an auto layout, group them together, reduce the spacing between them, and this is going to give us our perfect little group. And also we're going to center align the title as well. If you haven't subscribed yet, do subscribe because we aim to complete 500 subscribers this day, and also there's a special surprise for everyone who subscribes. Why is this so time taking? Anyways, we're just going to change this to crop, and then we can now move this image around and have a lot of fun with it. We're just going to make sure we're getting the right element out of this picture inside of the frame. just to make sure we actually do see what we want to see and not just what's in the center of the image, especially for long images. Let's get another image in, and then we can get the last image done as well. You know what, this is actually super difficult to do with vertical images that are standing straight. Let's get images that are vertical and sort of laying down together. All right, now we're going to do one last image, and with that we are done with this. And now I'm going to show you something really, really cool that happens when you have auto layout enabled. You can swap two elements this easily. So you can just go and swoosh, and that just swaps all of the elements inside automatically and just puts them in the right position. If you want to change these exact lines to the text that needs to be in these descriptions, you're going to pause this video at this point. Aishman asks, did I download the font from any site? Because I don't have that font, so I'm using SF Pro. Veera Sans, I feel like Veera Sans is already there. You know what, I'm just going to go ahead and check. Every font that's on Google Font is available in Figma, and it's all usable. I do want to check if I got it from somewhere or if it was already there, because I feel like Coolen is a part of... Oh my god, this is a revelation on its own. Let me just check Adobe fonts, because this is interesting. If it's not on Google Fonts, how did I get Coolen in here at all? Where is my Adobe Fonts? Hold on. Oops, it's actually on a site. There is no app. Super confusing. SF Pro would be a good alternative, but again, I have to check where I got this font from too, because I've been using it for so long and I do not remember downloading it. I could have gotten it from Adobe Fonts. Where did it come from? Adobe doesn't have it either. I swear to God, this happened on a witch layout that we were doing. So we were doing a sort of Halloween themed layout pre-Halloween, and we had this exact same thing happen. This seems to be a different language. Does it do English? I'm going to try to do English. Oh, here it is. All right. So Google Fonts, by the way, has a font called Coolen, and it's actually in some other language, but all right, Adobe Fonts does not have Coolen. Don't worry about it. Coolen is a free font and it's in some other language. I don't even know what this is. I think we could get it. I have no idea. It could be Cambodian, it could be something else entirely. I have no idea what this is. But when you start typing out English text, this is what I'm talking about. This is the juicy font that gets generated. This is exactly the font that we're going to use here. All right. The other font was Veera Sans, and I feel like Veera Sans should be a part, because Veera Sans is already there. Both of these are actually present in Figma already. Google Fonts are present on Macs as well, I believe. But SF is also a good option if you want to use SF Pro. Let's see what SF Pro is like. I don't have SF Pro for some reason. Maybe it's a Mac OS thing. I genuinely don't know. All right, we're just going to copy this text really, really quickly and change this as well. Gain XP. I feel like this is a very, very long description. We need to tailor it down a little bit. And dedicated concierge. Let's just copy and paste this text because we have already styled it out. Nope. Paste it in here, and that is it. Let's just paste to match style because things are a little bit different all the time. All right, and this is our unmatched luxury group, and the next thing we're going to design is this join us section, which is super duper awesome. Let's create a frame. The very first thing we're going to do is create a frame. I would want to give this frame, I would just want to give this frame the exact same height that we have given our previous frame. It's almost the same. when you place it around here, you see these red lines where Figma tells you this is the length of our last frame and this is the length of our next one. Let's change this to have an orange fill, the one we were using from our color palette. And you don't even have to go around searching for the color with an eyedropper in hand. Figma automatically gives you all the colors on this page, which is amazing news. It also gives you the colors on the other pages, but that's not happening for some reason. Alright, we're just going to create a simple card. This is the modern join us section, and it's extremely simple. We're just going to create a simple card. Make it long enough to fit, add a fill. Make sure the fill is white because a lot of our plans rely on the fill being white. Add a border radius. Add a little bit of spacing. This is a little bit too long, but I'll just work with it. Make sure it's perfectly aligned in the center. And now we're going to add an avatar image. So just start with simple things. Again, this is a 100 by 100 plain image. We're going to go to Lumi and search for an avatar image. This should be fine. It doesn't matter which image it is. Let's just close Lumi off. And it's going to load up in its own time. Alright, you can crop this image if you're not happy with the way it is looking currently. Just use your mouse to move it around and that should crop out your image for you. Alright, and now we're going to add this description in colon. Just type out join us. And the reason we're using colon here is it's such a big heavy font that it just brings the attention to itself automatically. Let's do 48 pixels. This should look good. And let's also add get started. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe because it would be awesome to complete 500 subscribers today, and there is a special prize for every single subscriber. We have a surprise in the mix somewhere. And also we have another awesome stream after this one planned at 8 p.m. Do not miss it. It's the greatest actual SaaS landing page we've ever built, and it's arguably as good as this one, if not better. It's actually quite fun and uses vectors and background patterns to highlight all sorts of things going on. I do want to talk about it in detail, but we'll leave that for 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time or 2:30 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. Alright, we're going to reduce the font size. Let's get this down to 18 because that seems like a nice round number. And we're going to change the color to gray. Done. Now let's go to the third section. This is going to be our continue with Google section. It looks complicated but is surprisingly very, very simple. You're just going to create a simple box, add a fill, add a stroke. Why am I removing my own stroke? Alright, the stroke is going to be slightly gray. The fill is going to be slightly gray. And the stroke is going to be a little bit more gray. Add a border radius, obviously. Who doesn't have a border radius nowadays? And also we're going to go back to Iconify and search for the Google icon. And now we're going to import our Google icon from inside of Iconify. And we're back. Now we're going to resize this to have this width and height. Bring it to 33, put it right here. Take this text box and start typing it out. Start typing out continue with Google. Alright. Now we can reduce the font size internally if we want, especially because it's one level lower than this in terms of hierarchy and what's bigger and more important. Let's group them together, add an auto layout, make sure they're perfectly aligned and centered inside of their frame. And now we're going to add an OR button. So we're just going to take this and make it extremely small. Type out OR, and you know what? Let's reduce the font size to 11. You have to make sure of this, and people forget this many times. If you have a really small font with a really small font thickness, it's if you just increase a really small font with a really small size, if you increase the thickness to medium, semi bold, something on these lines, things generally become much easier to see. And now we're going to design the email box. All right, so we're going to really quickly duplicate this, add it over here, change the font size to 14 and thickness to regular, and change the text to say enter your email. Again, this is assertive. This text in itself is assertive and asking us for something, and needs attention for the user to even be able to fulfill this demand. And so we need to make sure that this is a black shade, or the shade of black which we were using, as close to dark as it can get. And then we're going to just duplicate this and add it so that people can enter an email. If you guys have any questions related to UI UX design, do not hesitate to post them and I'll be happy to answer. And also, we're aiming for 500 subscribers today, and we have this stream and one more. And every single person who subscribes gets a surprise. So just make sure to subscribe, make sure to join us here and over there at 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Super duper fun. Change the text color to be a little bit darker, not this dark. This is a good stopping point. All right, the font size is also going to be 14. This looks good. And now we're going to add this button, which is our plain call to action button. It does look a little bit different, but it isn't. In reality, they've just removed the Google icon and changed the color. We don't have to worry about changing colors, thankfully, because we already have our color palette here with us. Change, which yellow belongs to the color palette? Now I'm unsure. If one of these has to be the Google yellow, I feel like this is blending way too well. Has to be the Google yellow, and this is our yellow from our color palette, because they are both looking different now. Let's change this to white and get rid of this guy. In fact, I feel like at this point, our initial yellow was paired with black, so we have to keep that with us and keep that in mind with us. So we're just going to change this to black as well. In fact, this is the lighter shade of black that we were using for OR. Let's change this to OR black as well, 101010. If you haven't yet subscribed, make sure to subscribe so that we can have a special surprise for every single UI designer on this channel, and also have 500 of us in the group. All right, now we're going to add this warning: by continuing, you agree to our terms of service and privacy policy. Copy and paste it right here, and let's just copy this text because it takes surprisingly a really long time for me to type all of this out. We're going to copy it and paste it according to the style that this already has, and then we're going to change this to the style that we need. So for the very first thing, we're going to reduce the font size. Next, we're going to make this really light and hard to see, because apparently that seems to be everyone's goal now. This looks good. We can reduce the font size to 10 as well, but I feel like going below that is just too much. Done. And with that, we have built out one of the nicest join us sections I've seen in a while. It has this hierarchy to it that just makes it work so well, especially with all our modern designs. It integrates perfectly and looks awesome. Like, I would genuinely pause to join if this was the join in section I was given. I feel like join in sections nowadays lack so much color that it's just difficult to concentrate on them, especially when there is so much social media overload. And I'm not saying every single joiner section has to be orange or red, but any color from your own color palette, more color to designs, wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. This is just my opinion. And now we're going to build out the favorite part, my favorite part, and hopefully your favorite part of this whole UI design. If you think this is all our favorite parts collectively, just say this is great in the live chat. Just type out G and I'll know you love this bento grid as much as me. This is the testimonials section, so we're just going to get the title from over here because this is exactly that. Type out G in the chat, guys, if you think the bento grid for testimonials is awesome. I absolutely believe it is. I I'm just going to change it to what our clients say. What our clients say. And if you guys have any questions related to UI UX design, make sure to leave them down below. Alright, and now we're building out this perfect grid. It's a bento grid, and it's just very, very simple. It uses all of our colors from our color palette. We're just going to build out this rectangle. Bento grids are surprisingly simple to build, and yet critically underused. Is it unused or underused? Look at me, thinking in English. Alright, now we're going to make sure to, let's give the both of these an equal amount of width, because I don't want to mess that up either. Perfectly aligning them in the center. Let's just group them together, and then it would be very, very easy to align them in the center. And I also want one other element in here. The reason we've done this with frames instead of rectangles is because it would be extremely difficult to get these working with rectangles, and also because they are now going to hold all these other elements, and so frames are just rectangles that hold other elements inside of them as child elements. Let's do 38. So 38 is the spacing between these, and 38 is the spacing between these. Together they give you this really, really nice spaced out section between themselves. And now we're going to change these colors as well. If you haven't yet, subscribe, and let's complete 500 subscribers today. And also, for all the 500 subscribers that we do complete today, there is a special surprise. Just really, really quickly, subscribe, you guys. And now we're going back to Iconify to get for ourselves quotations. Quotation? What about quote? No. Comma? It's technically called quotations, but for some reason we are all hellbent on not getting them in here. What do you call them? Can someone please tell me in the live quotes? Alright, we'll just make this smaller. Add it in here. Change the color to white. And also add this description. So I'm just going to copy what they've already said and then paste it according to the last style that was used in our design, and then we can style it. You can pause the video here and style it yourself. I'm just going to paste to match style, and this looks extremely weird right now. Can I just say it looks extremely weird? And the font size is going to be 24 right now, and we can see if it doesn't work, we can adjust it back. Let's change it to Veera Sans. Change the line height to auto, because the strict rules for line height only apply if the font you're working with is Coolen. And also the text has to be aligned towards the left. Font size still seems a little too big. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to click on the bell icon when you do, so that you get notified every single time I come live. Speaking of my live streams, speaking of these live streams, you could... I come here live every weekend, and we design 8 different UIs. So we have 4 awesome UIs on Saturday, and we do 4 awesome UI designs on Sunday, all of which are great for your portfolio, all of which are awesome, especially if you're getting started in UI UX design. Every single image we use in these is actually available in the Discord group, and we're just opening up Lumi and adding an image inside of here. If anyone has any questions related to UI UX design, please leave them in the live chat. I would love to answer them. And let's add now we're going to have 3 different things go on at the same time, and I want to simplify this as much as you can, so you want to listen carefully now. This is a name, this is a position, this is a company. I found the Figma plugin to do all of these automatically for you, so you don't have to worry about them at all. The only thing you need to worry about as a designer now is leveraging them correctly and using a tool that automates all of these for you. So this used to be a headachy process, but I feel like the true mark of a UI designer is knowing what right tool to leverage when. And so I'm just going to show you how to use this new tool that I found super duper easily. let's add a text box for name. This becomes a reusable component, you guys. So if you're thinking of getting into reusable components, do not go anywhere. Let's change the font size, decrease it back, and also add a name of the thing that we're doing, position, and now we're going to do one other comma. This is going to stay as it is, and we're going to leave a little bit of space, and then we're going to type out company. These have to be just a little bit smaller than what we were already doing. Let's get them over to a size 12. Bring this right here and leave a little bit of space between. I think we should just add this space now, and then we don't have to worry about the space at all. We can group them together, add an auto layout, and that's just going to make sure they're perfectly aligned together. Spacing between them has to be 0, and then you're going to start looking for the content reel plugin in Figma. You can get this to ignore the Figma auto layout rules if you just click on this button. And now we're going to search for the content reel plugin in Figma. We're going to go to plugins and widgets, search for content reel. If you don't already have it, you're going to search for it in the search bar, let it run, and then we're going to type out full name. We're going to go back, select this text box and get the full name, and then we're going to get job. We're going to go over here and search for job, and this is going to give us a job description box. Where did it go? Job title. Here we have the other section, and then we're going to go back to the company, take it down here, and you know what, let's just go back inside of our frame, put it in the auto layout, and now we're going to add a company name. Check it. Wade Warren, dog trainer, the Walt Disney Company. I know this isn't completely appropriate, and you could argue that there are no dog trainers at the Walt Disney Company, but this is such an efficient way of getting all of these done. I'm just going to get rid of the duplicate that I copy pasted, and now I'm just going to copy everything that I have over here, because all of this content was quite difficult to build out. This is when you're going to start seeing the magic of content reel plugin, you guys. Just put this in here, trust me. Change the name, change the job title, go down, change the company, not country, company. Where did the company go? Done. You can do fake company names or you can do real company names. They have both. And if for some reason you're not happy with dog trainer of the Walt Disney Company like me, you're going to change it really quickly. Web designer, the Walt Disney Company actually looks much better. And then we're just going to duplicate all of this one last time, bring it down here. This is where the spacing issue is going to arise, where you're going to have to take this sentence, drag it out, just so everything is perfectly fitting together. Now we're going to again do the same drill one last time. This saves a lot of time, especially if you have many things that you need to style out together. Control Alt P runs the last plugin that you were running, and it runs it super duper quickly, so you don't have to again go ahead and search for your last plugin. We're going to add a job title and go back, and let's do the job title here again, and also we're going to change the name of the company. Done. And now we're going to add our description for all of these people. Let's copy and paste the text, and then we're 2 steps away from basically getting this done. We can place this in the center, and that's just going to make it easier on the eyes. And also let's do this as well. Done. And one last thing that we need to take care of is these images. We'll go back to Lumi and get ourselves a couple of avatar images. I feel like I'm just getting other images of the same person. It's weird. I should be getting different images, right? I'm getting the images of the same person. This isn't reasonable at all. Let's just go to the next circle and search for one last image. Why did I import an image of a magazine? Probably because it does take a little bit. Let's add a dog for the avatar, because why not? It'll take a little bit of time, but you will realize that it happens at its own speed. And then we're going to get this closed off. Check this out, you guys. Now we have a perfectly working bento grid for our testimonials, which is awesome. This is my favorite section. Can we just take a moment to relish how beautiful it looks? Type G if you think this is awesome. Great. All right. The next thing we're going to do in this UI is make this subscribe section for the newsletters. If you haven't yet, speaking of subscribe, if you haven't yet subscribed, what are you doing? Let's complete 500 subscribers today. And also make sure to click on the notification button, or the bell icon as the YouTubers call it, and that is going to tell you every single time when I do come live that I am live. That felt pompous, but what can we do? And now I've just pasted the text in the exact same style that we were using, changing the color to just highlight the main word we need to. We're going to reduce the font size now. We can bring this down to like 64 because after we divide it in half, it still has to go to only half of the screen, and the other half of the screen is going to be covered by another section. I feel like we could improve on this section by a whole lot. For some reason, I seem to have left it at this weird place, which I will now fix. Let's now... This could do well with the whole section as well, but I feel like now I'm committed to the 50% split screen plan, and I'm just going to go ahead with that. Now I'm just going to make sure everything is perfectly aligned to the left and give it a little bit of spacing in between the two of these. All right, now that we've gotten this sorted out, we're going to start adding a description. So to get our description, we're going to go back to the top, get this description from right here. Not much has to be changed in the styling aspect of it. Just get it down and zoom in, paste it, and I feel like this is good enough for the styling part. Copy the text. You could change the shade of gray, but at this point it doesn't really matter as long as it is in the color scheme that we're using. Let's change the font size to 22. This needs to be a little bit smaller on second thought. All right, we can also make this a little bit grayer, because why not? This genuinely looks better, and we're going to make sure it is perfectly aligned to the left side. I still think about right and left before saying right and left. All right, now we're going to add the enter your email button and the subscribe button, both of which are over here. So we're going to get the both of these, change the text, and just change them a little bit, shift them around to get the section fixed up. The primary goal here is to save as much time as we can. Let's now get the both of these in here. Again, make sure they have equal width inside of this section at least. Where did my text go? This seems to be a bummer. It seems to have gone outside. Nope. I feel like we just misplaced it somewhere. We're just going to type it again. Maybe I just forgot all about it. If I just did, I'm sorry for that. Let's confirm. Continue with email. I might have typed it. I might have forgotten. I don't remember anymore. Weird. Anyways, we're just going to switch out the font in here. Done. And we're going to get this section and this button, copy it, bring it down. Check out how cute it looks. And also, for any dog lovers out there, one of the people who gave the remark was this dog. So subscribe for Ronald Richards, the marketing coordinator of Bifco. And also, if we complete 500 subscribers today, there is a special surprise for everyone who's subscribed. Any updates on this will be found in the community tab of this channel. So in case we complete 500 subscribers and you want to know more about the surprise, you're just going to have to check the community tab for this channel. Make sure to subscribe, you guys. Change the text to say subscribe. I wouldn't want to sound like a general YouTuber, but I am typing out subscribe in real time. So I will ask you once again to subscribe if you're interested in UI UX design. If you're not, I don't know, maybe don't subscribe. Let's change this to be perfectly aligned on the left side, and also add this flaming cursor over here just so you know that it's still blinking. We seem to have caught it at a lucky non-blinky off moment. And now we're going to group this together, put it on one side, and then create this section. I feel like I forgot something in here, and I'm going to do it right for this purposes of this stream. Group it all together. It actually looks quite nice. Just group these two as a single group. Hold on a minute. I'm just going to group these as a single movable piece, and then we can add an auto layout to all of these just so the spacing can be adjusted manually. If auto layouts didn't make spacing so easy, I wouldn't recommend them every single time, every single place, but I feel like they do, so I will continue to recommend them every single place. And then I'm going to change something in this layout to not look like this layout at all. Keep on watching to see what I have planned, because I have big plans for this one. Welcome back. Alan Wake says subscribe. Thank you. If we complete 500 subscribers, I feel like I feel like a lot of what the special surprise has to do with the number 500. I'll go into the details in the community tab very, very soon. Thank you so much, Alan, and everyone else who subscribed. If you leave your name in the live chat right now, I'll give you a shout out. If you want to join the best Discord, the best UI UX design community in the world, it's in the live chat. All right, and now we need 3 different icons for all of these. So we're just going to go to Iconify. And change this to, let's change this to, let's get a bar graph, because it was there for some reason. I don't know why, but it was. And I'm now sticking with the things that I had planned. Seriously, if you guys have any questions related to UI UX design, just leave them, and I'll throw to your side a weird rant on why and what it is that you need to know. All right, we're searching for a door. Let's put this in here, make it smaller. And what other icons should we add? Let's think about the other icons that we need to add. Let's add a balloon, because why not? Now we're going to import it as a frame, make it smaller, and now we're done with Iconify. We're going to just get rid of it like a brute. Again, it takes a while to resize and get to a point where you're happy with the way your icon looks, but when you do reach that point, it's the best thing ever. Personalized service and this now. All right, so I'm just going to get one of these texts and make sure they're outside of their frame. And now I am actually going to start doing the things that I want to do. Here's what I meant by that. We have 3 different colors in our color scheme. let me just get the color scheme, hold on. This is basically our color scheme, the yellow, orange and red. And so now that we have 3 different icons, 3 different things to do, we can actually start playing around with our color scheme to assign individual colors to these bullet points and then start working with them. For example, I'm just going to give this guy a color of yellow. Let's do orange, because why not? And we're going to add a title that says personalized service. I've only ever done this with colors that weren't in color schemes before, so the fact that we get to do this with a color scheme is amazing. Personalize the service. Alright, let's make it a little bit thicker and increase the font size to 21. This should work well. Change the color to orange. And also, this is the point where I'm starting to do things that I wanted to do. I feel like I just had to do them and then I just forgot about them at some point. This is weird and embarrassing at the same time. Genius. Alright, we're going to get this text and copy it, paste it back again over here, change the font size and color. What are elements or complete UI design builds you'd like to see on this stream next? Comment them down below and hopefully we'll cover them next week, because I come here live every single week and weekend. I come here live every single weekend and create 8 different crazy fancy UIs. Group them together and change the color for this guy as well. Let's get this color in here. I feel like we weren't supposed to use pure black, and I said this earlier in the stream. Changing the color to 101010 and getting this whole thing grouped together. Done. And now we can reuse this as a reusable component. Start changing each individual element, and that should give us killer results. Changing this to blue. Let's do yellow, because yellow seems to be underlooked now. Is it underlooked or underrated? It has got to be underrated. Nope, we were supposed to paste it as it was. And also we're going to bring this color down, because I feel like it's just getting too dark now. If you want, you can add a stroke in here or something like that, but this color is starting to affect our yellow, and that's affecting my enthusiasm. Let's copy and also change the text. And now we're just going to duplicate this group one last time. Should we make this balloon orange and then with the first section have to be blue? I feel like that would be a good idea. If it's a balloon, it's supposed to be orange. If it's a balloon, then that's an established rule. You can't argue with that. You can't say we had a deal of changing the bar graphs to red. You can't do that. I feel like at this point, when there's a balloon involved, everything has to be orange, including things that shouldn't be orange or red. Oops, lost something. Let's group it together, get it back together, and now we're going to press shift, select all of them together, group them once again, add an auto layout, and reduce the spacing between each of these. If your doors or your door icons start acting weird like mine, select them and then do physical violence, because sometimes icons just won't work, and it's the most annoying thing in the whole world. I am not a supporter of physical violence, but at the same time, I also don't believe in breaking your own equipment, so lay off on the physical violence idea. That might have been utter stupidity. Where did the icon go? I feel like things are just disappearing left and right now, and we're just ignoring them completely. What is happening? I feel like I started to control this. Icon is not moving. Where is the icon? Where is it? Let's get this out of the way. And this little guy isn't even logged, And turns out he's just hiding in there like a weirdo. And now we're going to get rid of the auto layout restrictions for this guy and just get him settled in. You can place it inside of this subgroup, and I feel like I should at this point, because honestly it has been quite a ride. All right, done. And now we're going to place this inside of our frame. Make sure this takes up half of your space, and then the other half can be for the subscribe function. Speaking of subscribe and the section to subscribe, make sure to subscribe to this channel so that we can complete 500 subscribers. And then I can go ahead and brag to everyone I know the fact that I have 500 subscribers. I feel like I will, even though even though it sounds weird, I might. I probably might, I may not, I don't know yet. We're going to add a stroke, and I just got this idea now. We can change this to gray, and then maybe it'll be a little bit more fun. Just check this out. This is already so much funner, so much more fun, so much funner. That's not a word. All right, let's now, this, I just looked at the screen once again. This actually looks really, really nice. Like, this section actually looks quite great. If you think the section looks great, just type G in the live chat and I'll know that you think this section is great. All right, we're just going to go back and increase the width. This is the last section we're building out, a really, really modern navigation bar. Speaking of navigation bars, this we started with sort of this idea in our minds and ended up with this. I feel like that's such an improvement over the course of this UI design. Like, can you believe that we started with this in mind and then we ended up designing this? This is so much more professional than what we had originally planned. This is awesome. And now we're building out our own footer. We need a title and description, so we're just going to copy the both of these, because you know I would hate to duplicate my own actions twice. What am I doing? I'm going to select the both of these by pressing Shift and duplicate them once again. Get them outside of our frame, and then I'm going to type out the footer. Let's collaborate. Let's LETS collaborate. Change this to black, the shade that we were using, not the original 0000 black. Just use 1010 black. That's the black we're supposed to use. And now we're going to give ourselves this description. I feel like this and this don't really have many aspects different inside of them other than the font size, so we'll just reduce the font size to 16. That should be good enough. And also we'll change the line height to auto, copy this text and paste it in the same style that we already have here. So we're just going to match the style and change this to auto. If you guys want to type it out yourself, pause this video, type it out. I will not stop you. Nope, did 20. I want 20 pixels, not 20%. 20 pixels is much better. 24 is the one I'm going for now. I don't know why I started using, at some point I just decided to start using 24, 56 and these numbers that are already here in Figma. There was a time when I used to do 17 pixels and 23 pixels, but I feel like that's just behind me now because of how much I see these slider numbers in Figma. And also the fact that they've just made it so easy to switch between all the even numbers. It's awesome. And now we're designing this. This is an extremely simple form of footer to build. So we've just reversed the color scheme in here. If there was black at the top, now they're putting black at the bottom. And when there was gray at the bottom, and now they're putting gray at the bottom. And then we're just making this smaller, ironically, than our links. So we just have to make this once, duplicate it a couple of times, and then change our text. Let's do that. Copy paste. Oops. Change the text to say destinations. Destinarions. This is a new one. Proof of the fact that I cannot type. I say I can't type while I'm live streaming. Question is, can I type when I'm not live streaming? We'll never know. Let's change this to Bali Bliss. And make sure to subscribe. Let's hit 500 subscribers today, and then there's a special surprise for everyone who's subscribed to this channel. Let's change this to 16. You know what, 15 should be good. No, I'm going back to 16. And we're going to change this to 101010 now. Make sure to subscribe, you guys, and like this video so that YouTube knows you like this video and YouTube tells to the world, these are great videos, watch them. And when the world comes and watches these videos, I will bomb completely. Santorini sunset. Santorini sunset. And one last description that we're building out, one last link that we're building out today is Maldives paradise. You might think I do this just to announce what I'm typing, but I will genuinely forget what we wanted to type out if I don't. Typing while live streaming is the most difficult thing ever. If anyone has done it, they're real heroes. Alright, and I feel like this is enough for our links, and they almost have a same amount of spacing between them, so I don't think you need to separate them as a separate, these guys as a separate group. So we're just going to reduce the sizing to bring it to 21, and then we can duplicate this a bunch of times. Make sure to subscribe, guys. If we reach 500 subscribers, that is a special surprise for everyone watching. You might think I'm being corny, and I completely am, but there is truly a surprise related to UI UX design if you subscribe and you're a UI UX designer and we complete 500 subscribers today. And also, by the way, even though this design is about to end, we have a stream coming up at 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time today, or 2:30 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, wherever you are. And it's about a complete SaaS application landing page. It's the best thing ever. Do not miss it at 8 p.m. It's the perfect portfolio project, even better than this one. And this is already topping all of the charts of everything we've done on this channel. Do not miss it, I swear to you. We're going to change the text, cultural immersion. Cultural. Oopsies. Cultural immersion. And I'm just going to copy and paste text now because I'm getting tired of typing. It's such a drab challenge. Gastronomic delights. At some point, it just becomes way too boring to just type this stuff out. I copied an extra version for some reason, and now I'm going to have to delete it. Yay! Perfect. Contact us, because if you don't, we'll contact you. Email us. Because if you don't, we will email you. Get in touch. Because if you don't... Alright, I'm going to leave this now. This is a bad joke. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are done with the final link of the final footer of the final UI for this live stream. Let's see what our glorious design baby looks like inside of the laptop onion skin that the Figma gods have given for us. Let's just see. Go to prototype, show prototype settings, and now I'm going to scream because I am so happy. Change this laptop to space gray, because why not? And let's present. Let's get rid of this, and then we'll just this is the previous UI, by the way. If you want to build this out, this was the last live stream we did at 2 p.m. just 3 hours ago. Do not miss it at all. Let's go back. Let's go back. Let's go back. Why is this link hiding in here? Why? Do you want to embarrass me, Link? Just be frank at this point. Do you want to? Because I feel like you are. And Figma is hanging too. Has anyone tried to use figma.com and has anyone tried to use Figma there? Because whenever I use it, I feel like the WebGL or something inside of the JavaScript and the magic that makes up the websites is just lagging, and it just slows my computer down. But maybe it's the old computer. That could be the case as well. Who knows? And now we're going to see what we've just built out in its full glory, ladies and gentlemen. This is the super duper awesome, super duper nice UI we've just built out. This is where the magic happens. We're using bright colors, amazing font choices, stuff we haven't genuinely seen before. I would love to see all of you recreate this. All the images used here are either from Lumi, or you can just get them in the Discord group, linked in the live chat and description. Do not miss it. You know what? I'm just going to share this with you guys as well, so you can join in on the fun too. Paste it right here. What? Paste. Go. Okay. And now you can see this live chat too. Sorry, you can see this UI design too, and this is the most fun part, this join us part. I feel like if all join us parts had this much color, I would join every single site in the world and then jam my email ID. But it is quite cool, and this is my favorite section. Bento grid, orange bar at the top to just start us off. Awesome font choices. This is the best testimonial section I've ever seen. And then you have the subscribe for exclusive offers section, which we improved upon so much, you guys. This looks unbelievably awesome. And again, a lot of the first impressions of your UI design start from what you've put at the top, and I feel like we just peaked that here, made it awesome, completely the best thing ever. And this is our footer, which is also completely modern, something that you'd see online nowadays. Super duper amazing. Anyways, this has been the UI that we just built out today, you guys. I am so happy to have you here. I hate to go, truly hate to go, but I'm going to be back in like 2 hours at 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time to build out the ultimate SaaS app UI design, complete landing page, live on stream. We're going to be talking about vectors. We're going to be talking about highlighting and background patterns in UI design, my favorite thing in the whole world. I will see you very, very soon. Keep designing, keep opening up Figma and creating new designs. I feel like that's the same thing as designing. I will see you again. If it is your birthday, happy birthday. If it isn't your birthday, happy birthday.